Be gentle. It's too fast. The rancher paused, then his actions melted her heart completely. It was a bright, crisp morning on the ranch, the kind of day where the sunlight spilled over the rolling fields, making every blade of grass shimmer as though sprinkled with gold, and the faint scent of hay and earth hung in the air, grounding and comforting all at once. She had never been anywhere like this before, far from the endless noise of the city, away from honking cars and concrete walls, a place where time seemed to slow and every small detail became vivid, alive, and meaningful. The rancher appeared almost silently, stepping out from the shadows of the barn with an easy confidence that was both calming and magnetic, his tall frame moving deliberately, every motion purposeful yet unhurried. She felt a flutter of nerves mixed with excitement as he guided her past the corral, pointing out the horses with quiet reverence and soft, explanatory words that made her feel as though she were seeing them for the very first time. When he finally spoke, his voice low and gentle, almost teasing, saying, "Be gentle. It's too fast." She couldn't help but laugh. The sound light and unburdened, and she noticed a warmth in his tone, subtle but undeniable, a hint of care that made her chest tighten in a way she hadn't expected. The day unfolded slowly, each moment stretching into something both ordinary and magical. As they worked together to feed and groom the animals, her hands brushing against the soft coats of the horses, feeling the tension in her shoulders melt with every touch, every shared laugh, every pause he allowed her to take, never rushing, always patient. She began to notice the small things, the way he adjusted a bridle with careful precision, the way his eyes softened when a horse shied slightly, the faint smile that appeared when she mimicked his movements, unsure but earnest. Hours passed in this rhythm, a quiet dance of motion and stillness, and she realized that she was learning not just about the ranch, but about herself, about the ability to slow down, to savor the sensation of life in its simplest forms, to connect without words but with an honesty that resonated deep in her heart. When the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows over the fields and painting the sky with soft pinks and golds, he led her to a small creek at the edge of the property, the water sparkling in the late light, and she felt a serene joy in the simple act of standing beside him, sharing the task of watering the animals, laughing when the bucket slipped slightly, feeling his steady hand on hers, anchoring her in a way that was reassuring and exhilarating all at once. By the time they walked back toward the main house, the golden glow of sunset wrapped around them like a promise, and she realized that the day had been a lesson in patience, in gentleness, and in the quiet power of someone who moves slowly but leaves a lasting impression, a day that would linger in her memory, a feeling she knew she would carry with her long after she left the ranch. Hours passed as they moved through the ranch together, the sun climbing higher and warming the wide-open fields, casting long golden shadows across the fences and the soft earth, and every sound, the distant lowing of cows, the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze, the rhythmic clop of hooves on the dirt, felt amplified, alive, and intimate in a way that made her heart beat a little faster with every step. Her hands brushed against the rough texture of hay bales stacked in the corners of the barns, and the faint, sweet smell of dried grass mixed with the warmth of the sun in a comforting, grounding sensation, while her laughter, light and uninhibited, echoed across the open spaces, mingling with the soft calls of birds and the occasional bark of a dog, creating a melody of life that seemed almost orchestrated just for them. Each time she tried to rush, eager to prove herself or to see what came next, he would appear at her side, his presence steady and reassuring, gently placing a strong yet careful hand on her arm, his touch warm and deliberate, slowing her down in a way that was at once commanding and tender, urging her to breathe, to notice, to savor the moment rather than speed through it. There was a rhythm to his movements, a quiet confidence in the way he handled every task, whether leading a horse to the trough, checking the fences, or guiding her hands to the right place, and that patience, combined with the soft authority in his voice, made her chest flutter in ways she hadn't anticipated, stirring emotions that were as new as they were comforting. Watching him interact with the animals, the care in his eyes as he adjusted a bridle, the gentle firmness in the way he soothed a nervous horse, the easy strength in his posture that spoke of experience and respect rather than dominance, she began to understand that the ranch was more than work. It was a sanctuary, a place of connection, trust, and unspoken understanding. With every gesture, every slight pause, every subtle glance, he drew her in without needing words, breaking down walls she had built over years of rushing through life and guarding her heart, leaving her feeling exposed yet safe, exhilarated yet calm, caught in a delicate balance of excitement and serenity. Even the smallest actions, the way he handed her tools, the careful correction when she made a misstep, the patient smile when she stumbled, felt like lessons in gentleness, teaching her to move with intention, to notice the world around her, and to allow herself to feel deeply. By the time the afternoon sun began to dip, casting a golden glow across the fields, she realized that she had been transformed by the slow, unhurried rhythm of his presence, understanding in a profound way that connection and trust were built not in grand gestures, but in countless little moments of patience, attentiveness, and quiet care that left an imprint on her heart she knew would linger long after the day was over. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, casting long golden streaks across the rolling fields and painting the sky with soft hues of gold, pink, and lavender, he guided her toward a quiet creek that ran along the edge of the property, the water glimmering in the fading light as though reflecting the gentle warmth that had grown between them over the day. The breeze carried the faint, sweet smell of wildflowers and the earthy aroma of damp soil, wrapping around them like a soft, invisible blanket, and every sound, the gentle babble of the creek, the distant call of birds settling in for the evening, and the soft rustle of leaves, felt amplified, intimate, and almost sacred, creating a world that seemed entirely their own. He handed her a bucket for the horses with a careful, deliberate motion, his fingers brushing hers in the process, sending a sudden, surprising warmth through her chest that made her heart catch in her throat. When she struggled slightly with the weight, he was immediately at her side, steadying her with a calm strength that was both reassuring and thrilling, his presence close enough to make her aware of every subtle movement, every small shift in his stance, and she felt an unexpected flutter of excitement mixed with comfort that left her simultaneously breathless and grounded. "Take your time," he murmured, his voice low, soft, and intimate, each word carrying an unspoken patience and a tenderness that made her feel seen in a way she hadn't felt for years. The simplicity of the moment, the quiet shared laughter as they worked together, the accidental brush of his hand against hers as they adjusted the buckets or guided the horses, all combined into a sensation she could not have anticipated, a mix of wonder, warmth, and a deep, almost nostalgic comfort that filled her chest with a fluttering rhythm, reminding her of the kind of joy that comes from being fully present. She noticed the subtle way he observed everything, the careful attention to the water's flow, the gentle guidance of the horses, the soft encouragement in his gestures, and it struck her that this was not just about completing a task, but about moving through the world with patience, care, and respect for life and for one another. Each small interaction, each pause, each word he offered with calm deliberation seemed to build something invisible, yet profoundly tangible between them, a quiet intimacy that made her forget the world outside the ranch, the noise, the responsibilities, the hurried pace of her life elsewhere. Her heart, hesitant and guarded at first, now beat with a fluttering excitement, a lightness that made her feel free yet cherished, alive yet comforted as if the slow rhythm of the ranch, the warmth of the sun on her skin, and the steady, gentle presence of the man at her side had awakened something in her she had long forgotten. The beauty of patience, the power of connection, and the delicate magic of a moment shared in quiet understanding and tender care. As evening settled over the ranch, painting the sky with deep shades of orange, pink, and lavender, a calm quiet enveloped the land, broken only by the distant lowing of cows and the soft rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze, creating a sense of serenity that felt almost unreal, as if the world had paused just for them. He walked beside her toward the main house, his steps steady and unhurried, and she realized that for the first time all day, she had been holding her breath, carrying a tension she hadn't even noticed until now, and with each slow, deliberate motion of his hand guiding her, every careful instruction, every subtle gesture, her anxiety dissolved, replaced by a warmth and calm that seeped deep into her chest. The golden light of the setting sun seemed to wrap around them like a soft embrace, highlighting the way the ranch stretched endlessly around them, fields glowing with a quiet, almost magical radiance, and she found herself noticing every detail, the way the shadows of the fences fell on the ground, the shimmer of the creek in the distance, the faint scent of wildflowers carried on the breeze, and feeling a profound sense of presence that she had rarely allowed herself to experience. When he finally stopped and gently let her go, Their eyes met, and she felt a jolt of awareness, a recognition of a connection that was neither forced nor fleeting, but real, steady, and unspoken, something that resonated quietly, yet powerfully within her. There was a softness in him that contrasted with the strength he carried, a balance that made her feel protected and exhilarated all at once, a harmony she didn't realize she had been longing for until this moment. She smiled, feeling her heart full, aware that the emotions stirring inside her were subtle yet undeniable, a combination of gratitude, wonder, and a tender anticipation she had never felt so vividly before. The walk back to the house was unhurried, each step carrying with it the weight of the day's shared experiences, the quiet lessons of patience, the gentle encouragement to slow down and notice, the simple but profound care he had shown, not only to her but to every living thing on the ranch, which made her see the depth of his character in a way words could never fully capture. As they reached the porch, she paused, taking in the view of the fading light over the fields, the warm glow of the house windows inviting and comforting, and realized that the day had not ended with grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but with something far more lasting, a silent, shared understanding, a connection born from patience, gentleness, and trust, one that would linger in her heart long after she left the ranch, a memory wrapped in the quiet magic of a day that had changed her perspective, her heart, and the way she would see the world from that moment forward.